Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I didn't expect to be live tonight. I didn't expect to talk about this situation as soon as tonight, after my video today, but I thought I would go live not because of any panic or overreaction or nothing like that, because I thought, well, the video that I made today is pretty irrelevant now. It was all kind of, oh, well, it might be tonight, might be tomorrow, blah, blah, but it's all a little bit irrelevant. So I thought I'd come on live, I'd finally update the situation to its fullest extent, and we'd talk about the news which has just dropped moments ago, about 10-15 minutes ago. The news dropped. Let's get it on screen for you now, in case you've been living under a rock, in case you don't believe it, in case you think I'm taking the mickey out of you with the title of tonight's stream. The Celtic Football Club statement was released at quarters. I said 10 minutes, it was half an hour ago now. Jota parts company with Celtic. A very short statement from the club, saying after 2 seasons with the club, one on loan from Benfica and one on a full contract, Portuguese winger Jota has left Celtic to join Saudi Arabian club Al-Ittihad. In his time in the hoops, Jota won 2 league titles as well as picking up a winner's medal in both the Scottish and League Cups. Everyone at Celtic Football Club wishes Jota success in his future career. So that was Celtic's very brief statement, and then if you take a trip onto the Al-Ittihad Twitter, and I'm sure this isn't exactly what folk want to see, but sadly for now, it's what I'm going to show you in stream, and it's what we have to see. If I have to suffer, you have to suffer. A lot of posts, Jota already been photoshopped into the new kits. He's been photoshopped as Spider-Man. He's been photoshopped with a guitar. They're going all out, and then of course the real photos, the real deal, the signing photographs, as Jota officially becomes the newest signing for Al-Ittihad, joining the likes of Karim Benzema and N'Golo Kante, and of course the manager Nuno Espirito Santo. By the way, that video is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. If you've not seen it yet, I don't even know if I'm going to say you should go and check it out, because it is, yeah, but if you needed all the proof, there it is, right there. Al-Ittihad signing Jota on a permanent contract. He is gone. Celtic no longer have the Portuguese star. He has left just like that. A player that I didn't expect to leave this summer, but when £190,000 a week comes calling to you, yeah, you can't really say no, can you? So there you go, lads. Jota is away. He's gone with the bluntest statement possible. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what it means for Celtic, the bigger implications, the deal itself. We're going to talk about how we move forward in replacing him. This is something that we're probably going to touch on in quite some depth over the next few days in the channel, both in the podcast and just obviously myself. And there's going to be a lot to cover. So tonight I'll try and get you guys involved, and we'll try and get everything across that we need to. I see the first question, Ryan, is like, how much? So if we want to get into the finer details and the exact details on the deal itself, as far as we are aware, it's a deal that is between 25 and 30 million pounds. That's what we've been told. So it looks as though it's a record fee for a Scottish club in regards to an outgoing player. What the exact fee is, I don't know. Don't know if we'll ever quite know the exact number. I'm imagining it will be undisclosed. But the last report that came out this morning in the mainstream media, I think the Daily Record reported it, is that Celtic were holding up the deal with asking for more than £25 million. They wanted closer to £30 million. The deal that was standing, the deal that was apparently last put in from Al-Ittihad, was €30 million, which was around the region of £25 million. So we're talking a fee of 25 to £30 million. So then on top of that, you've got to talk about the fact that Benfica are apparently owed a big 30%. 30% of what? It's not been cleared up. I don't know if any of you guys have seen anything, but I have yet to see anything in regards to the 30% of either the full transfer fee that Celtic have accumulated or 30% of the profit that has been made. Either way, sat down the stairs and made it up with I'm seeing people saying 15%, and I'm waiting to see what's been said. Because this is the thing, this is something that's been thrown about. I've not seen an actual confirmation yet, so I'm looking to see what else is getting put down. But me and my father, we sat down and worked out anyway. We're talking, Celtic are going to have to pass on between 7 and 10 million pounds to Benfica. It's going to be somewhere between 7 and 10, depending on whether or not it's profit or or the full transfer fee. A lot of people assuming it's profit. I see people saying I don't think anybody actually knows. What I can say is £7 to £10 million, if that 30% thing is true. I'm imagining it will be clarified in the next few days. Someone will find out. There will be a source that comes out and says whether or not there's something there. But yeah, if it is £7 to £10 million, that is a lot of money to be giving away to Benfica, of course. You basically want to sit down and say that, you know, we're looking at 20 million being put in the bank here for Celtic to play with. Roughly £20 million will come into Celtic. And hopefully it's £20 million that will be given to Brendan Rodgers to reinvest in the team. It is a bit of a gutter, but I mean, what else can you do? It's not, you know, people. I've said this point so many times here on the channel, and I'm going to say it one more time. I'm getting fed up of saying it. People are like, "Oh, it's terrible. We should be fleecing them for more." What suddenly gives us a divine right? Yeah, they're throwing silly money at people, and they've got silly money. They've made their money because they're not dafties. You know, you don't become a billionaire because you're lucky. These are smart guys. They know what they're doing with business. Nobody's going to be able to walk up to them and go, "Oh, Jota, we want £60 million, mate." Not going to happen. 30 million was probably realistically what we're going to get from any side. I think 30 million is probably a little bit generous. I think if anybody in England was to come calling this season, they probably would have went 20, 25 million, and they wouldn't have went any further than that. This is a record fee in Scotland. It's a huge amount of money that Celtic are bringing in. We don't see this very often. It's tremendous business to sign a player for £7 million and then sell them on for a potential 30 million. That's huge for Celtic. It's good business from us. And you know, I seen a fantastic point on Twitter earlier, and I can't remember who posted it, and it's going to annoy me. I'm gutted Jota's gone, right? But there's a lot of people complaining, not sad, there's a lot of people complaining that he's leaving. But the same people complaining that he's leaving are the same people that want us to operate like an Ajax does. That's just how Ajax operate. They buy in cheap and they sell for what they can get, and that's literally what's happened here. I'm absolutely gutted that he's gone, but we will find a replacement. Life goes on. And now that we live in the social media age of football, everything does get greatly exaggerated. That happens. But listen, far better players have left Celtic and we've been absolutely fine. I'm gutted to see Jota go. He's one of the most talented players that I have seen in the last few years at Celtic. In regards to what he can do technically, and even his, you know, just his mental side of his game. He's a fantastic player. He's a hard one to replace, but we will absolutely replace him. And we've got a large amount of money to go and do that. And listen, you can't blame him for taking the move. A few people will probably right now turn around and in the moment be hurt. And in the moment be saying he's money grab. And in the moment he'll be getting tired with the same brush as what Ange Postecoglou was a couple of weeks ago. Oh, he doesn't care about Celtic, this, that, next thing. The man is going from £35,000 a week to 190,000 quid, tax free. I said it in my video earlier, and I'm not sure if everybody watching this stream has had the chance to watch my video earlier yet. If he said no to the move, I would have been questioning him. You've got to take that. You've got to. It's life changing. It's generational wealth, for him and his future family. This is huge. It's massive for him. I don't blame him. It's a massive opportunity. People will keep throwing dirt on the Saudi Arabian league. Fair enough. It is a league that doesn't have much of a history. It is a league that's coming through. It's a league that doesn't offer much prestige as of now. The reality is, in the next 10 to 20 years, the Saudi Arabian Football League will be one of the biggest in the world. It will have the biggest players in the world. It will be genuine competition for that. And who knows, with the money that they've got thrown about, they'll probably try and buy their way into the UEFA Champions League. That's how it's going to go with Saudi Arabia. So Jota is just one of these players who's is the first of many to go over and go there. He's joining a whole host of big names. Ronaldo has set a trend, and even players before Ronaldo. And Celtic players will probably go in the future if they're good enough. There is no difference. There is no difference from a Celtic player leaving us to go to England to go to Saudi Arabia. There's none. The aim of the game is go on and make as much money as you can in the modern world, isn't it? That's what they're doing. If people wanted to stay at football clubs for the history of the club, they would stay at Celtic forever. So moving to Saudi Arabia is no different. He's gone in bagging £190,000 a week. I say fair play to you, Jota, son, because I wish it was me. So that's that. Steven Gerrard's just went over today as well. So It's huge. It's massive for him. It's absolutely. DM McDonald, we've got to face the reality that these Saudi teams, I keep saying Saudi, and people get annoyed by it. Saudi teams might start sniffing around other players within the Scottish League, never mind just Celtic as well. It's this is it. It's becoming normality in football. This is part of the evolving game. Listen, everything in football evolves at some point. 50 years ago, we would have laughed at the idea of the English Premier League sides going and spending £100 million on players. It would never happen. It was never a reality. It was never something that was possible. Now it happens every year, and many teams in England are doing it. People thinking that Saudi Arabia was never going to be something like this. It's going to happen. Football evolves, football develops, sport develops, the world develops. Just like these countries have emerged in the modern financial landscape, they're going to obviously emerge in the sporting landscape as well. They are becoming global superpowers, and along with that becomes a bigger tourist place, a bigger sporting place. And I don't see why people are turning around and saying, oh, it's shocking. There's no difference. People saying, going to Saudi Arabia is terrible because of X, Y, and Z. Well, if we're treating it with that kind of outlook, then we should treat players going to Newcastle United with the same outlook. If anybody signs for Newcastle United, it's just as bad, because they're owned by, effectively the Saudi government, aren't they? They're owned by the people who run the country. And yet people were edgy towards the takeover of Newcastle at first, but we don't see people complaining about Newcastle. People are moving there left, right. Saying Alexander Isaac went there, we didn't hear a peep. So, I've learned to deal with it. That's my outlook on it. But as long as Celtic are making money, and we've made a lot of money, so now we need to reinvest. This is, before I get to your comments, what is next for Celtic? We bring in, say, 20 million here out of the 30 to spend on players. This is a lot of money to play with, and we need to sign somebody of quality. Now, Brendan Rodgers has spoke very openly and very positively about how he wants to take Celtic forward in Europe, how he wants to develop us on a European stage, to compete, to go in and actually do something, rather than going out in the group stage year in, year out. And to do that, players of Jota's quality is exactly what we needed. He's gone now. So with him going, you need to bring in someone who's going to offer you the same amount of quality and or better. So I'm hoping that Celtic are in discussions now. I have been very optimistic about all of their signings over the past year or so. Christ, you can even go back to someone like, here's a name you'll have forgot, you can even go back to someone like Oliver Abildgaard. I was very excited for him. Every signing we've brought in the door since the revamp of our recruitment department, and you could say from the arrival of Ange Postecoglou, I've been very optimistic about, been very positive about, and I've been willing to give a chance. But what I will say about whoever comes in to replace Jota, and what we need to do now in that forward line, is we need to bring in players that are above the standard of our signings. I wouldn't exactly be thrilled with a J-League winger who could be good. I want us to sign someone. And when I say someone, I mean that guy. The guy that comes in and it makes you open your eyes and go, wow, that would mean business. I want somebody that's got a kind of I wouldn't say pedigree. It's not easy for Celtic to go and sign players with pedigree. Someone of that standard's probably playing for a bigger wage in a better country. But someone that is going to come in and make a difference. A guy that you can really say you've known about. Rather than someone who could be good. Because Jota leaves with a huge amount of quality, and he takes that with him. You need to bring in something like for like, in my opinion. So hopefully the board and the guys at Celtic, Brendan Rodgers, and everybody who's involved in the signings this summer transfer window, hopefully they're getting right down to that and trying to recognise who that could be, because it needs to be done. And listen, we're in July. That's us into the final kind of month now. You get that sort of last few weeks of June, and then you get the full month of July, and then your season starts. Yeah, you've got another month after the season starts before the window slams shut. But you like to have your team sort of done and settled and have a rough idea of where you're going. And I want us to be in that position come game 1 this season. So I hope the work is underway. Brendan Rodgers made it very clear that the work would be straight underway when he got through the door. So hopefully over the next few weeks we start to hear a little bit more as to who comes in and replaces someone like Jota. But before I get into your questions, before we kind of discuss everything, make sure you hit like and subscribe first of all. If you've not pressed like yet, what are you waiting for? There's over 800 of you in here. I want to see that like button smashed. But very quickly, here's a reminder of the statement that Celtic put out this evening. in regards to Jota leaving the club after 2 seasons with the club, 1 on loan and 1 from Benfica. 1 on loan from Benfica and 1 with a full contract. Jota has left to join Al-Ittihad. A very, very brief statement, but that's it. He's gone. A real sadder one than usual, because we know that I'll need to replace him now. Up there, he'll have to go. Who will I replace him with? I don't know. But let's get your thoughts and see what happens. DM McDonald again saying, totally agree, Ryan. I know it's unfair to judge him before a ball has even been kicked, but it won't be ideal at all if we don't get someone in. Don't want that pressure on Telio. And that's how I look at it. Telio for me, the guy who comes in and replaces Jota straight away. I mean, he could be. But this is my point. I don't want it to be a could be. I want quality. I want a big name. I want someone who comes in and makes you go, wow. Is that Telio? Don't know. Let's see. We've got Callan. Cal's always in the podcast. Good to see you, mate. Was more than a player. He was an intelligent lad on and off the pitch and really understood the club. That's what made Jota so special. He was a special player. And you know, I think that we all got to love him so much the more we've seen of him, the kind of outside the football content and his Instagram and all the rest of it. He was a real character. He was someone who really brought a kind of aura with him. And to lose that is quite sad. But as long as we replace him on the park, you know, that's the main thing. First and foremost. Pierce saying, thoughts on Reader from Young Boys. I need to do my research and look more into him. I was going to talk about him maybe this week, the more that maybe stuff comes out. Yet to see how much is actually in it. He is apparently going to leave Young Boys, but is it to Celtic? I don't know. We'll have to watch as that one develops. But it would be a decent signing, it looks like. If there's stuff to believe there, I'm going to do my research and such this week. No Champions League for Jota. I'm not going to lie, Ellen. As weird as it sounds, I think as soon as you're on 190 grand a week, the Champions League just stops to matter. This is the world we live in, sadly, and the Champions League, you know, should be the club competition that every player wants to play in. But as soon as you're getting offered that, you know, and the potential of, there is a really realistic chance that the Saudi Arabian clubs will get let into play the Champions League. There is a realistic chance that's going to happen. If you come turn around to UEFA and try and offer money, it could happen. I don't know how FIFA would have their stance on it, considering they are part of another federation. But God, in my lifetime, I expect it to happen. So, and look, he'll have every chance to come back to Europe in future as well. You know, he can go make his money and then come back. So, no Champions League for him next year, but I'm assuming that in future he will get the chance. Sad to see him go, but why have contracts when players can just leave before the club knows anything about it? They probably knew about it before the cup final. Listen, I don't work on the contract side of things, but yeah. I don't know. It's just football now, isn't it? Players are off all the time, and agents have the biggest say in it nowadays over clubs. You know, agents do everything. Similarities to the PGA and LIV with the Saudi League. The money will only go so far without the historic infrastructure of the league. Do you know what? I must say, I don't think football really matters. This is mad that football's got to this point. I don't think it matters that the league's not got a history. I don't think it matters that it's just coming into like its own now, and I don't think people really care. I think that football's too big a sport for people to care, and I'll tell you what. And look, this a lot of people won't agree with this because a lot of old school fans that think that the be all end all of football are clubs like Celtic, clubs with tradition, and it should be. I wish it was as black and white as that. I wish that football started and ended with the clubs like Celtic at the top of the pyramid. You know, your Celtics, your Man Uniteds, your Barcelona's, your Real Madrid's, and that was the creme de la creme. But realistically, we're in a world now where billions of people are watching football. Billions of those people aren't from Scotland, aren't from England, couldn't give a toss what the history of Glasgow Celtic is, and they want to watch football for the players. And as long as players are making money, that's where they're going to go. The millions and billions of people across Asia, Africa, South America, they don't care if players are playing in England. They don't care if they're playing in Italy. They don't care if they're playing in Spain. They want to watch them. And wherever they go, they will watch them. Prestige and history means nothing nowadays in football. And it's sad, but it's the devastating reality. And the more you just start to accept it, the more you begin to realise that's the way it is. People are going to watch football for where these players go, and that's that. Look on Twitter. Look at Ronaldo and Messi going to Inter Miami and Saudi Arabia. They're taking legions of supporters over to these leagues, and it's great for the guys running these leagues because they're making money, they're gaining viewers and TV rights. Guess what? Sky Sports, BT Sport, TNT Sport, CNN, USA, Apple TV, all of the world's biggest broadcasters, they don't give a toss how many trophies that Celtic have won. They don't give a toss how many trophies Manchester United have won. They don't give a toss about how big and famous Liverpool Football Club are. They care about the product that people are going to watch. And the product that people are going to watch are where the best players in the world are. And guess what? Saudi Arabia now has Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, and N'Golo Kante. You're talking Bernardo Silva maybe going over there. Ruben Neves. Some stars are going over to Saudi Arabia. And that is what people are paying to watch. And I seen somebody in the chat as well bringing up the point as, oh, it's China all over again. It's not China all over again. This is a completely different thing. You need to read into this stuff. Saudi Arabia is here to stay. China, for so many reasons, wasn't here to stay. They brought in a whole lot of registration issues which ruined the whole thing. Financially, it wasn't sustainable for what they were doing. The Saudi Arabian money is very sustainable. Very. They've been hosting Formula One races for, I think, a decade now. The WWE has signed a 10-year contract that brings in billions, which has been running now for the best part of a decade, 5-6 years, and it's going to keep going. The LIV is here to stay. The Saudi Arabian Football League is here, and it's here to stay. And you might hate it, but it is. It's sustainable. It's attractive. It's not China. The quality of living in China and Saudi Arabia, for example, night and day. Night and day. Players want to live and play in Saudi Arabia. It's becoming a land of milk and honey. It's a very different situation from what the Chinese Super League ever was. And you really need to read into it. Now, you can get started on sports washing and all the rest of it. I think sports washing is terrible, it's dangerous, and it's got a really, sports washing's existed forever. You could go as far back as the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin. You can go as recent as the Beijing Winter Olympics, and what was that, 2022 or 2020? Sports washing's always been here, it always will be here. It's very dangerous, and it's dangerous what they're doing in Saudi Arabia as well. But football fans don't have a leg to stand on when they try to preach about it, and then the Premier League is doing the same thing. The clubs like Newcastle being owned, it's just the cycle we live in now, and I've come to live with it. To be fair, it's a very depressing summer transfer so far. Thank you, Padraig, for the €5, by the way, legend. Good to see you again. It's like working in Asda for 14 quid an hour and Tesco offering you 30 quid. You are leaving. Exactly, you are leaving. No matter how loyal you might think you are, then Look, I'm not the inside man on anybody's finances, but listen, they've been around long enough now to know what the script is. This is it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts, and I think a lot of people are really in denial about like the Saudi Arabian League right now coming about and what it offers and what it means and that it's crazy. Yeah. If we get 25 million for Jota, scary to think how much we could possibly get for Hatate. He's arguably got more potential in football than Jota. Yeah. I mean, I hope that I don't want to really talk about the thought of Hatate leaving the club as well this summer. But, if money comes calling, and we have heard murmurs that Saudi Arabian clubs are looking at him, then, you've got to then start weighing up the option. You've got to stop weighing it up like it could happen. And how much money do you get for him then? I don't want to think about all of our best players leaving, but I guess it could be more. But I don't want to think about him leaving. So let's not. Let's see. Not long to the World Cup. Well, they want it, what year? I think they originally wanted to host the 2030 World Cup, and I think they've pulled out. And I think they want to have the 2034 World Cup. It's got to happen. It will happen one day. Qatar's already got the blueprint down. So, yeah. It's 2023, man. Money is what people care about. Surprise, surprise. If you could take one player from Hibs, who would you take? I noticed that you're a Hibs fan, Harvey. Nobody. It would have been Nisbet, but he's gone, isn't he? I don't know. I really don't know. I have a very, there's very little players in the Scottish Premiership that I'd be interested in taking to Celtic. Not just Hibs, it's not a Hibs thing, it's just a Scottish Premiership thing. I think the gulf in quality between the top two and the rest of the league right now is probably the biggest it's been in a long time. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, I just mean that I think that's what's happened over the last couple of years. I think Celtic and Rangers have pulled away. And it's no fault of the other clubs, it's just what's happened. So, yeah. Let's see, what else? Before we wrap up, I wanted to sit in my bed and watch a film before Raw tonight, and it's looking extremely less likely as the minutes go by. Yeah. Who do I think will sign? I don't know. I don't know who will think will sign, because I'm not a scout. And, the guys that we do sign, we look at somebody like Reader, right? He's getting talked about a lot right now, and he's potentially someone Celtic will look at. A very expensive signing it would be for Celtic, but he's someone that apparently we're looking at. I never heard of him weeks ago. I'm not going to lie. I think I've heard of his name in passing before. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, this time of year ago, I'd be like, Celtic should sign that boy for Young Boys. Of course not. I'd be lying. No, so, like, the players that we should sign or we can sign, I don't really know who they are. I need to expand my scouting. I'm not a scout. I'm a YouTuber. I'm a pundit. No, I'm not actually. I'm not at all. God. Kyle Kennedy, a badder linked with Scott Sporting. Yeah, that's the most recent one to come out tonight. They're saying that if Marcus Edwards leaves the club, then he will be the top candidate maybe for the replacing his role. It's going to be a busy summer. Like, this is what happens. And like, I'll come back to the point I made earlier. If you want us to be run like an Ajax, this is how Ajax are run. They get raided every few years. So, yeah. It's not like it's surprising. You just got to build from that. You know what I mean? It's what happens. I'm going to wrap it up there for tonight, because we're nearly going on half an hour. And I feel like we've covered everything. Jota is gone. It's finished away. Which is sad. But listen, I'm sure we'll be fine. And we'll come back stronger. Like and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow with a video. And we'll probably talk about Jota a little bit more when the details come out. I'm hoping that by the time we're up tomorrow, we maybe see more about money, yada yada, clauses, fees, and all the rest of it. So yeah, right. Like and subscribe, lads. Have a good night, and I'll see you next.